Shalom, I'm going to make this super quick, and I'm going to entitle this video, Will Russia Sneak Attack the United States? Anyway, I put in, what would happen if Russia and the U.S. went to war? So I'm going to read some of this. And I also I put in Operation Midnight Hammer. Let me just read this. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai Bashem Rakakwadash Shalom to the 144,000, the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. Forgive me for not putting up my praises. This is a full breakdown of Operation Midnight Hammer, the largest B-2 operational strike in U.S. history. This is the Fox News Breaking Defense Operation Midnight Hammer, how the U.S. conducted surprise strikes on Iran, which is a sneak attack. So the video is what would happen if Russia and the U.S. went to war. Russia sneak attacks the U.S. Says surprise attack on a surprise strike on Iran. B-2, which is a bomber, stealth bomber, strikes on Iran. What we know about Operation Midnight Hammer. And I'm gonna look up the word midnight in the scriptures just to look it up. How the U.S. struck Iran's nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight. I believe it was it actually midnight in? Let me do this. Operation Midnight. Let me put down meaning. Okay, Operation Midnight Hammer refers to U.S. military operations carried out on Saturday, targeting 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. The operation, described as the largest B-2 bomber strike in U.S. history, involved the use of precision-guided munitions and Tomahawk missiles, aiming to severely degrade, Iran's nuclear weapons infrastructure. The operation was authorized by President Trump and the King of Babylon, and was executed with the goal of neutralizing threats posed by Iran's nuclear program, according to the U.S. Department of Defense. I wanted to see, why did they call it Did they get hit Iran's time at midnight? What time was it when the U.S. struck Iran? What are they going to give me? What time was it when the U.S. strike Iran? Because they call it midnight. When did the Iran war start? When was the last time the U.S. bombed Iran? Let me see what that is. On June 21st. It does not tell you the time. What time was it when? Why don't you give me the freaking answer? Or why else would they call it it says overnight, but it doesn't say midnight. But it does say, let me come on back. Doesn't say what time. Details on U.S. mission in Iran, dubbed Operation Midnight Hammer. Mossad has his hammer too. Let me come back again. Let me come over here. What would happen if Russia and the U.S. Went to war? So, as the title says in my video, that I believe that that attack, well, scripturally, that attack on Babylon will be a surprise attack, a sneak attack, a surprise strike. It says a war between Russia and the United States, especially if it involved nuclear weapons, which it is going to involve nuclear weapons. But see, if they both shot off all of their missiles, that's the end of the planet. So, Russia would have to shoot missiles on U.S., or U.S. would have to shoot missiles on Russia. When it's least suspected, sneak attack. Which the scriptures tell you that. One scripture that comes to mind is Peter, 2 Peter 3, verse 10. Lord will come as a thief in the night. It said would be catastrophic, resulting in massive casualties and long-term global consequences. The long-term consequences is described in Revelation 18. What's going to happen when the missiles hit? How will the world react to it? It said these other countries that have became rich through the United States, they're going to cry because they said we ain't going to make no more. They're going to be sad because they feel sorry for the people. They said we ain't making no more money. The Russians effed up our money. The initial phase could see hundreds of millions killed or injured, with devastating impacts on infrastructure and the environment. The conflict could escalate to a nuclear war, causing widespread death, radioactive fallout, and potentially global cooling, which is nuclear winter, where that smoke and everything covers the sun. The temperature's gonna drop dramatically, and people are gonna freeze to death. Even a conventional war would have severe economic repercussions, disturbing global trade, Revelation 18, the merchants, and exacerbating existing challenges like inflation and food insecurity. A measure of wheat for a barley, a measure of wheat for a barley, a measure of wheat for a penny, and a measure of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine. New study on U.S.-Russia nuclear war. 91.5 million casualties in first few hours. Remember, it says it's going to take 1 hour. The long-lasting economic shock of war, but the war also greatly compounds a number of pre-existing adverse global economic. See, they worry about the economics. The merchants shall mourn. Right? Which is more powerful, Russia or USA? United States number one. Unless there's a sneak attack. It says power #3 best countries overall. China number 2. China and Russia work together. United Kingdom, they have missiles and they're going to ultimately shoot missiles on the U.S. Germany, I got to double check that because the last time I checked, which maybe 2 years ago, the only EU and NATO nations that possess ICBMs was France and the UK, not Germany. South Korea, France, right? France, and the UK. So now they're saying Germany. France is an EU NATO nation. Germany is an EU NATO nation. United Kingdom was an EU NATO nation. They still do trade, but they're no longer under the EU system, but they're still NATO. And these NATO EU / NATO nations will shoot missiles on Babylon. So the whole planet will not get totally destroyed. The U.S. will not be able to shoot their missiles on Russia. Russia will be able to shoot their missiles on the U.S. along with the allies of Russia, China. They possess missiles. UK is going to turn their back on Babylon. Germany, if they have missiles, will turn their back on Babylon the Great. France, and whatever other NATO or EU country. So the missiles are going to be coming from all angles, from Russia, from China, from the EU nations. So now, if this is not, what do you call it, a false flag, and it's all on film, and it never really happened, we don't know. Hey, with AI, you never know. You never know, but we know it's going to happen because the scriptures say so. The scriptures say so. So let me go here to and there's all kind of scriptures that subject of Armageddon, the end of the world, Russia and America, and so forth. I'll go for the next 5 hours. Easy work. So let's go to Revelation 18, one of my favorite chapters, which it's the closing credits for this system. It's the closing credits. It's just that simple. John saw the missiles take this place out, but the Most High showed him the vision backwards. He said what would happen before that, and what would happen during that, and what would happen after that. So John saw the elect, starting with the apostles and prophets, and the rest of the elect being beamed up. He saw all of that. That's why in the 4th verse, the angel said, "Come up out of her, my people." The Most High's people are the elect of Israel, because not all Israel is going to make it, as we know. Sounding like a broken record here. 2 Peter. Only thing that's holding us back is the MOTB. So we know there's not going to be World War III next week or next month. Maybe next year. Hopefully next year. Read this in the King James, and I'm going to read this in the NLT, maybe even the BBE. The coming day of Yahweh. Right, you got scoffers. What you talking about? You've been saying the year 2000 thing. A new heaven and new earth. That's the kingdom. But the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night. So those missiles, which is the Most High's sword, which is going to initiate that the silos open up and the missiles come, is going to be a sneak attack. It's good. Israel. When Israel shot missiles on Iran, that was a sneak attack. They call it preemptive, saying that we shot them before they can shoot at us. We don't know about the evidence, but it was a sneak attack. It was a sneak attack. They got hit when their guard was down. Iran, U.S. And they had to know that Trump says things, and he actually goes along with what he says. He said we're going to do something within 2 weeks. So they should have been on high alert. So we don't know if this is a false flag or not. This is all Hollywood. We don't know that. That's the way you got to think. You know, it says, but the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. It's not talking about the heavens. It's not talking about the earth. What Peter saw is the same thing that John, the apostle, saw. He saw Babylon the Great being destroyed. Gehenna, as Yahweh Shai referred to it as. When he said weeping and gnashing of teeth, he was talking about America. It says, shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also, which is America and Palestine and other parts of the world, a lot of buildings are going to fall because the whole earth is going to quake. And the works that are therein shall be burnt up by the missiles. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what type of person ought ye to be in all holy convocation and godliness? What you supposed to be talking about? These prophecies. Looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Lord. We supposed to say, is the Lord coming this week? Is he coming next week? When is he going to come? Wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Because this kingdom wherein dwelleth wickedness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent, that ye may be found in him in peace and without spot and blameless. You guys can't be having no dirt on you, right? So now, let me go to the NLT. So it's going to happen, but the MOT, the mark of the beast, is going to have to come first. I'm going to read it verbatim. For the day of the Lord will come as unexpected, as a thief. Sneak attack. Then the heavens will pass away with a terrible noise, and the bombs bursting, and the very elements themselves will disappear in fire, and the earth. What part? There's a part of the earth that's going to be destroyed, not the whole earth, and everything on it, on that soil, which is Babylon and Palestine, it will be found to deserve judgment. They got destroyed because they deserve judgment. Since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy and godly lives you should live. Get yourself right. Get right with God. Looking forward to the day we're hastening the day of the most of God, and hurrying it along. When is it going to come? On that day, he will set the heavens on fire, and the elements will melt away in the flames. But we are looking forward to the new heavens and the new earth he has promised, which is the kingdom. We will be on top of all the other nations. A world filled with God's righteousness, the Most High's righteousness, the laws, right? The laws. And so, dear friends, while you are waiting for these things to happen, make every effort to be found living peaceful lives that are pure and blameless in his sight. Walk the straight and narrow. Do the work. All right? So anyway, let me do this. The U.S. dropping bombs on Iran, was that a sneak attack? Dropping bombs on Iran, was that a sneak attack? I'm asking a question, sneak attack. Tell me if it's a U.S. Let me see, U.S. bombing of Iran started with a fake out. As the bombers near the Iran airport, the U.S. submarine launches more than 24 Tomahawk and land attack cruise missiles. I'm asking the question, was it a sneak attack? These news companies, play with your mind. Let me do it this way. 13 times. Sneak. Nothing about a sneak attack. Give me a second. Let me do this. Let me go. Dropping bombs on Iran. Was that a preemptive? Preemptive.
Here's the definition of active: engaging or ready to engage in physically energetic pursuits.
Preemptive. Preemptive.
Here's the definition of preemptive: serving or intended to preempt or forestall something, especially to prevent attack by disabling the enemy.
Dropping bombs on Iran, was that a preemptive? Preemptive. Preemptive. Let's try that. Trump says U.S. hit 3 Iranian nuclear sites, plunging America into conflict. Where's the preemptive? They use it for Israel. When Israel snuck attack Iran, they called it preemptive. All eyes on Iran's response. Preemptive. Esau's power is in his words. He manipulates. Okay, preemptive 3 times. Israel launches preemptive strike. And they said that it was a preemptive. They said we struck them because they were going to strike us the next day. So we beat them to the punch. But so U.S. Striking Iran, was that preemptive? I guess it wasn't. That was a declaration of war. Wow. Preemptive strike or act of war. Well, a preemptive strike is an act of war. Israel attacked Iran. Let me do it this way. The U.S. dropping bombs, was that a preemptive attack? Let's see if preemptive come up. Preemptive. The U.S. dropping bombs on Iran, was that a preemptive attack? Live Iran says U.S. strike betrayed diplomacy, warns 10 hours ago, obliterates rated Iran's nuclear program as a little preemptive. They choice with their words, bro. If that's not a preemptive attack, then that's a sneak attack, and that's clearly a declaration of war. Because Israel is not a part of the EU alliance or the NATO alliance. It's getting hot. Trump announces U.S. bomb drops in Iran nuclear site. No sneak attack, no preemptive. I guess Trump called him and said, I'm going to drop a bomb on you guys later tonight at midnight. And the U.S. media, what they call it, the MSM, mainstream media, their power is in their words. Anyway, shalom, on to the next.